So many reasons for you to be happy. So many reasons for you to be smiling.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. First thing I'm just going to say, you're probably wondering, why do you have so much makeup on? You know, I don't really wear this much makeup and this much colour, but I did a little collaboration with a lovely YouTuber called Anshul. You might know her, I mean you should know her. She was on Beauty Boot Camp, which is a little competition held by Pixie Woo. She was a winner. I'm going to leave her links down below. Hopefully in future we're going to do a video together, but we did a collaboration makeup look on Instagram. I did a nighttime look and she did a daytime look, so check it out. As you can see by the title, I'm going to be talking about something a little bit more serious today, and it is very serious. It's non-beauty related and it's more life related. I'm going to be talking about anxiety, panic attacks and depression. I asked my Instagram if anyone had any questions because I've received a lot of emails and questions from young girls, you know, asking for my help and telling me their story, and I really appreciate people doing that. I mean, I had one girl, she was as young as 12 and she was saying that she suffered with it, and after reading that it kind of just broke my heart. Like, I couldn't even imagine, you know, if I had a daughter who was 12 who was going through that and she didn't tell anyone. Like, it doesn't go well in my mind. Anyway, I'm going to answer some of your questions. A disclaimer, you know, I'm not a professional. I'm only simply talking on my, you know, experience and how I suffer with it. So I'm only going to be talking to you about my knowledge. What do you do if you want to die? Which is very blunt and very wow. First thing I would say is when it gets to that point, you need to seek professional help. If you haven't told anyone that you feel like this, if you haven't told your family, your friends, if you know you haven't spoke out about it except from keep it in your mind, you need to go and speak to someone, and especially if you're feeling them kind of thoughts, you need to seek professional help. I was always against doctors or, you know, therapists or stuff like that because I would just assume they would shove me on a load of pills and I would, you know, eventually get over it. Like I said, when it comes to them kind of thoughts, you're not going to stop thinking about that, and you never know how far you're going to go, and you don't want to leave it till it's too late. And I know that what you're feeling now, this person, I'm going to leave all of the questions, you know, the names anonymous just in case anyone doesn't want to be, you know, put on here. You may feel like this now, but in a month's time, a few weeks, you know, even like in a week's time, I know that you won't feel like this if you change your mindset. It's all about how you look at life and how you want to look at life. If you want to be depressed, you will look at life in a negative manner. If you want to get over it, you will try and make it positive, and even though it's the hardest thing in the entire world, you would try your hardest. Seek professional help, go to a doctor, speak to someone, tell your family, tell your friends, because you don't want to go that far. I know you don't. Another question is, what activities would you suggest to someone with depression for them to take their mind off things? I would definitely suggest sports, maybe going for a run, going for a walk. I know that if I'm feeling really down, I will go out the house, I'll go for a walk. I'm not a very good runner, so I get really tired. I have asthma as well. I get really tired, so I like to just go out for a walk, put my headphones in and just chill. But reading is a good way of calming down. Maybe yoga, that is obviously very relaxing. I have an app called calm.com. If you search for it, calm.com, it'll come up. But it has little like 10, 20, 30 minute relaxing talks, and this woman kind of speaks to you and she says, you know, like it's like a calming down relaxation process thing. I would definitely recommend doing that. Also helps if you can't sleep very well, because I am an insomniac, so it helps me a lot. I know that when I'm feeling down, I would try and put myself, you know, my head into a creative activity. So maybe painting. I love painting. I don't do it very often, but it also gives you that sense of accomplishment as well, because, you know, once you've finished, you have a little thing to show for it, so it kind of makes you feel a little bit better. So maybe try painting, drawing, anything. Another question. I have very intense social anxiety, so much so I'm afraid to talk directly to waiters, salespeople, inquire about jobs. Honestly, my boyfriend says he translates for me to other people because I'm so quiet and shy. From my anxiety, people can't hear me. It has really affected how his friends perceived. I'm afraid they see me as cold and uninterested in them. A loser. Now, I completely understand and relate to this. I don't have severe social anxiety, but I definitely have social anxiety. I always worry that Like if I don't know someone, if I don't know them very well personally, I generally won't talk to them, or I won't really approach them, only because I'm extremely awkward, so awkward in person. Start stuttering at them, then apologise, then say something stupid, then apologise to them again, then apologise for saying, then saying sorry for saying sorry, then I'll walk off and be like, what just happened? What? You know, like I'm just a very awkward person, so I tend to just sit in the corner and kind of keep myself out of the situation and just stick to the people I know. I'm just like that. So I always worry that if people don't know me and they, you know, approach me when I go out, that they think I'm maybe ignorant, stuck up, horrible, stuff like that, just because I'm not the type of person to be like, hi, come over, oh my god, I haven't met you before. I'd be like, new person. You just gotta think. You can't, unless you try very hard. At the moment, you can't change how you are. It's just how your mind is. Like so many times people have told me to just like snap out of it, or any form of anxiety. It's like, oh, just get over it. Like it's fine. No, it's not. You can't just switch it off. It's always there, and it's always in the back of your mind. So your boyfriend obviously has to try and understand that. It's not you overreacting or you being a bad person, it's just how you think and how you see. So don't worry about how, you know, he's perceived by his friends or how you're perceived, because to be honest, if you straight up told them, they would 100% completely understand. I've had someone come up to me before and they'd be like, are you okay? You seem a bit nervous. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just so socially awkward, I can't talk to people I don't know. And they were like, oh, don't worry, I have a friend like that. Oh, and then we were good friends. So maybe tell them if you really are that worried. Maybe just say, because they're not going to think you're a weirdo. It's very, very, very normal. I'm going to try and answer as many questions as I can, so I apologise if this video is a bit long. Do you think it's possible for depression to come back after being ended? It always feels like it comes back after being okay for a while. I understand where you're coming from. Honestly, it depends who you talk to. People are going to say that it ends and that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and then there's going to be people who say that it never ends until it ends badly. I personally think there's an end to anything negative as long as you make it happen. I always try and see a light to the end of the tunnel, even when you are at your lowest. For me, I haven't really spoke about this publicly, and I'm going to be a little bit of a hypocrite because I don't really like to talk about it, but I feel like it kind of has to be said just to try and help someone. I took myself out of education and basically out of everyday life for nearly 3 months at the beginning of this year. It's with obviously my parents, my family's permission. You know, the college was informed, doctors told the college, you know, all my tutors knew. I was, you know, personally emailing my personal tutor every now and again. He was sending me work. He was also my English teacher. Obviously 3 months is a long time. It was from January to about March-ish, I guess, April. So I missed a lot of work, and obviously it was A-levels, so yeah, I had, when I went back, although it was very sporadic, I didn't go back just straight away. It took, you know, I was always a few days off each week. It took a lot for me to get back on track. My results are next week. I don't know how I'm going to go, but yeah, I took myself out of education because I physically couldn't be around people. I couldn't fake a smile, I couldn't be myself. I felt so ill. I basically got to the lowest of the low, to the point where I wasn't showering, I wasn't washing my hair, I wasn't paying any attention to my appearance, I was barely eating, I got really sick, I wasn't leaving my bed. You know, I went over a week without showering because what was the point? That was my thought. I basically given up, pretty much. I didn't want to live. And looking at that now, I can't believe I ever felt like that. It's just, to me, I think that for it to end, you have to get to the end-ish. I'm not going to talk about the extent of how far I went or what happened, but I feel like you have to go to the lowest of the low for it to end. In my you know, experience, that's how it had to work, because you know, every now and again it's there, you know, in the back of my mind. I don't think it ever really 100% goes, but I'm a very positive person now. I am so happy with how everything is, and I feel like I've learned from it. I definitely 100% regret taking myself out of college, because I think I've ruined any opportunity of doing very well. I also, when I came back, I felt like the new kid. I felt so uncomfortable, I felt so new, I felt really awkward because I didn't know what everyone else was thinking. I probably didn't even know I was gone. But, you know, I felt awful what I put my family through. They had to witness it, they had to put up with it every day. You know, I basically lost touch of who I was and lost touch of reality, and I disconnected myself from the world. And that's the worst thing for you to do, because all it's going to do is make you feel even more weird, even more crazy. Because with my issue is I couldn't be around people because it would constantly remind me of how happy other people were and how miserable I was. You know, seeing people smile, even if it wasn't genuine or whatever, seeing people laugh, I couldn't even fake even a smirk. Every kind of, you know, I was basically like a soulless body. I had no life in me. I was just a walking body. I was simply existing. I was completely gone in the head. And it definitely took me to go as far as I could go to wake up. And I've woken up. I have definitely 100% woken up, and yeah, it might come back in my life, but I'm ready for it if it comes back. I've just got to remind myself that I've gone through the lowest of the low, so I can get back up on my feet. So to me, to answer your question, I'm sorry I just babbled on about my whole life story, but there is an end. If you put your mind to it, there will be an end. I would seek professional help because it definitely helped me. I mean, I'm not on any medication or anything, but you know, seeing a therapist or seeing a counsellor did help. Just talking to someone else other than someone you know, talking to a stranger is the best thing ever, because really I don't care if they judge me, you know, because you're never going to see them again. Obviously a doctor's not really a stranger, but I don't very often see the doctor. I don't see her every day. There is an end, but it's a long journey with depression, I think. I'm sorry if I didn't answer that question very well. My friend has been depressed for a number of years and I find it hard to comfort her. Is there anything I can do to help? Definitely don't say it'll get better. Forget about it. Smile. Chin up. Think of the children in Africa. Think of all the people who are worse off than you. Just don't say anything like that, because it's going to make them feel small, make them feel stupid for feeling that way, and make them feel like they're overreacting. Especially saying, like, think of the children in Africa. Why would I want to think about that? It's just going to make me feel worse. You know, like, don't say stuff like that. Just be there for her. Offer your shoulder to cry on, you know, just always be there. Don't. Also, another thing is, when it comes to that, I know that some people, I've had people say, oh yeah, I've been depressed, I'm fine now, you know, where they're literally just making it up. Like, no you haven't. Like, just don't do that either. Just be there for her, be you, be her friend, and just try and cover her the best that you can. This has come at a perfect time for me, really struggling with anxiety at the moment. Had a fair few anxiety attacks in the last few days. What do you do to calm or distract yourself? I know when mine are coming, I will start to cry. I will then start to shake, I will start to get really mad at myself, and then I will start to basically bawl my eyes out. Then I'll start to hyperventilate, and hopefully if I've calmed myself down, then I will eventually settle down. I've blacked out twice, because when you are hyperventilating, you're not taking in enough oxygen, so it can completely black you out. I've passed out twice, once at work, which was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, that wasn't fun. I had to go back to work straight after I woke up. The way I try and calm myself down is, as soon as I begin to start to cry and shake, I'll be like, you know, stop it, just be quiet. Get myself out of that situation, maybe get a glass of water, get my friend, a friend that understands and you know, knows what I'm going through. You know, to get them to talk to me. I normally ring my dad. Out of everyone, he's got the type of personality where he's just like, Right? Yeah. How you feeling? You know, like, he's very kind of blunt, but that helps. He doesn't talk too much, and he knows how to calm me down. Try and breathe. Don't do that, because you don't want to pass out. That is blimmin' horrible. It's dangerous also, because you don't know where you're going to fall. Just try and breathe, get some water, get yourself out of that situation. If you're in a room and you're uncomfortable, get out of that room. Another question, at what stage would you class unhappiness as depression and worry as anxiety? Again, I'm no professional, so I'm just kind of going to try and answer this question just talking from my experience. Worrying is, I guess, what everyone would class as normal. Anxiety is something more that people suffer with. Like, I say suffer because it alters my life. There's things that I know I won't do or I can't do, or things I would never try, imagine of because of anxiety. Anxiety kind of is always on your mind, you know, when you maybe are in public, when you are even with your family. It's always kind of there in the back of your mind, same as depression. It's always there kind of making you worry. Worrying is like, oh, I'm a bit worried about that exam, you know, I don't think I'm going to do too well. Anxiety about an exam, I guess, would be maybe panic attacks or constantly thinking about that until it's done. You know, I probably haven't answered that very well, but they are very different things. Worrying is just what everyone kind of does. Anxiety isn't something that affects every single person. And the difference between sadness and depression. Sadness, one thing I hate is when someone who's just in a very bad mood or feeling pretty down, you know, just feeling sad, who says they are depressed, who's then happy the next day, or like, as in not in a fake happiness, as in like, oh, they're completely fine. Or I've heard people say like, oh, I'm feeling so depressed today. Like, I hate that. I would class sadness as a mood, you know, like happy is a mood, angry is a mood. Depression is a state, I think. It's a complete state. It's not a mood. Depression is basically like when you're feeling depressed and when you're feeling really down, it takes over your whole body. It takes over you. I know that when I was completely in my lowest of lows, I wasn't there. I was completely gone. I was not me now in that body. I couldn't function. I obviously, like I said, I wasn't showering. I was going over a week without showering. Like, I completely lost all zest and all meaning of life. And basically, depression is basically like you're not living, you're just simply existing, and you're kind of an empty body. So that's how I kind of class it. Depression is more of a state and more of a completely different thing, whereas sadness is a mood that eventually goes within maybe a few hours, maybe even minutes, you know, it can just come over you. But yeah, I probably didn't answer that question very well. I've had depression and anxiety for years now. I've taken medication which made me worse and even more paranoid. So if you do have any answers to the questions, it'd be good to hear. I talk to no one about anxiety and depression because it makes me feel ashamed. I never really spoke about it. When I was, you know, really down, I kept it as secret as I possibly could for months, until the point where, you know, it was January and I completely couldn't function. I had to tell someone. Do not feel ashamed. It's hard to not feel ashamed when you feel like that, but the thing is, so many people go through it daily and they don't talk about it. They suffer in silence, and that's when it gets bad, and that is when, you know, some people just don't tell anyone, and then you hear on the news or you hear, God forbid, anything, and they're gone. And people are like, but they seem so happy, you know, why? Stuff like that. And it's just like, they've probably suffered in silence for maybe years, months, not told anyone, and they'd most likely probably still be here if they'd have told someone. It's hard to tell someone because you worry that they're not going to understand. They're going to call you crazy, they're going to call you, you know, like you're overreacting. But if they love you and they know you and they care about you, they will understand and you will not feel ashamed. You have to tell someone. It's not something that you can keep secret. You've got to try and tell someone. I know that when I basically kind of told my family, they already knew, because I'd seemed like a completely different person for months, so they already knew something was wrong anyway. So most likely people already kind of know that you're down. So just try not to feel ashamed, because everyone's human, and just so many people suffer in silence until it's too late. It's a waste of a life, because that person could easily be fixed within a month or so. And that's, you know, I know how hard it is, and I know how hard it is to say it will be fixed, but it can. It will. It can. Okay, I apologise if that's quite long. I tried to answer as many questions as I could, and questions inside questions. Basically, like I said, I'm not saying any of my story for sympathy, for attention. I'm not lying, anything like that. And if anyone knows me and who watches this, you know, don't treat me any differently, stuff like that. I do not want that at all. To people who are suffering more so, you know, with depression, it does get easier. I'm not going to say it gets 100% better. It gets easier. I am in a very good place right now. I'm very positive. I do have my off days, but I'm overall very happy. I have an amazing family who are always there for me, literally any time, any second of the day. I have an amazing boyfriend who's always there for me. I have a great set of friends. I have just people always around me, and that is what you need. If you don't have anyone around you, which I'm sure you have at least one person, seek professional help. Go and see a therapist, go and see a counsellor. Hello. I hate to think of young girls, anyone, you know, older women, anyone, but reading that email from a 12-year-old girl who was literally at that point where she wanted to end it. I was crying reading that email. It breaks my heart. Like, 12 years old. There's people younger than that going through that thing, taking their lives, and it's just like, you just be positive, focus, be, you know, control how your thoughts are. It's hard, but just try and be positive, look at life at a different perspective. I know that when I was in the darkest place, I kept thinking of the future and how much, you know, I want a family, I want children, I want marriage, I want my own home, you know, I want that, and if I end it, I'm not going to have that, you know, and I would leave my family behind, my partner, my friends, everyone, and they don't want that. So just clear your mind, take a deep breath, and just know that you're human. There are so many people going through this. Don't suffer in silence. That is the worst thing you can do. Anyway, I hope I've answered some of your questions well. Again, I'm not a professional. If you want more Q&As like this or more help, then comment down below, let me know. If you have any more questions, then comment down below, I'll answer them. My email is in the description box. It's for business and stuff like that, but I am willing to answer any emails if anyone needs, you know, private help or just someone to talk to. I am here. I want to try and help. I'll see you next week for a new video. Bye.